Just between these two teams, who do you think the changes benefit, the 49ers or the Packers?
Man, this is kind of crazy because the Packers are getting some really good players back that haven't played a majority of the season. I mean, Jair Alexander, for my money, is possibly the top corner in the league, and you're getting a hell of a left tackle back. Man, that's a lot of firepower, but I have to lean for the 49ers because you just look at the final 9 games of the regular season and then that last game in this postseason, completely different team from those first 8 weeks. The Packers have been consistent. They've been good all season long, but the 49ers haven't been. They couldn't stop the run to save their lives for those first few weeks. They couldn't force a turnover to save their lives. And now they're doing both at an amazing clip. I mean, right now, this is the best defense in football. I really believe that. All teams included, the 49ers defense is the best defense right now in football. They've got an amazing front seven. When the front seven's not getting to the quarterback, I think that back half is holding up really well. And when they are getting to the quarterback, I mean, it's just a match made in heaven. And the fact that they have maintained being able to run the ball while also now forcing those turnovers. I look at this team, and when I see these other teams in the NFL and they're trying to pass the ball and they're trying to stop the pass, and then I see the 49ers who are trying to stop the run and run the ball, I just think that that's really hard to prepare for on 1 week notice, especially when you add in Debo, who they kind of tried to incorporate a couple times in that game, but adding in Debo, kicking Armstead inside, the corner changes, just everything. I feel like this is a completely different team, and it really feels like 2 seasons, the drastic change that has happened for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, looking at it, you brought up Jair Alexander, and he was in that game, though, when the 49ers and Packers played. He's the one that intercepted Jimmy Garoppolo down the middle of the field early on, right? He's the one that when they were trying to hit George Kittle, he's the one that picked it off. They are getting him back, though. He's listed as questionable, but he should play. The big guy that they're getting back is David Bakhtiari at left tackle. It'll be interesting to see how he performs because he's been out for a while. I think he might have played a few snaps in the last game of the season, but it'll be fun to see if Bosa and those guys can line up and maybe take him and challenge him, especially since he's missed most of the year, and see where he is coming back. But those are two really good players, as you mentioned. I do feel like the 49ers have a benefit in this game because I feel like they're better at corner than they were back then. You know, I feel like Ambry Thomas is better than where Josh Norman was in week 3. I feel, and definitely better than where Deommodore Lenoir was at that point.
Yeah.
I also feel like Jaquiski Tart is in a better spot than he was week 3 because if you remember, he had missed pretty much all of training camp with that turf toe injury. I feel like in week 3 he was still kind of getting his feet underneath him and getting going. And there was one play down by the goal line where I think if it was now, he makes a pick and or knocks the ball away instead of it being a completion in front of him. So I think you get that. In addition, there's no D Ford. I think the 49ers defensive line is in a much better position than they were back in week 3 with the way that Eric Armstead's since playing inside, almost all the time. They do kick him outside every once in a while when they start to move guys around in pass rushing packages. I did see him on the edge a couple of times against the Cowboys, but primarily he's an inside player now, which I think helps them out. DJ Jones is playing big. So there's a lot of changes on the 49ers defensive side. When you talk about the offensive side, you talk about Debo Samuel running the ball more and so on. And again, I go back. I don't feel like that's going to be as big of a difference if they don't do their job up front between at the center and the guard positions. I don't think it's going to matter if it's Debo Samuel or not, because if you go back and watch the game from week 3, I did a film breakdown on it last night. They're doing all the motions and those kind of things, and you're seeing Green Bay linebackers move and flow like you've seen throughout the season. The difference, though, the problem was that the 49ers were losing in the middle, and so they couldn't run the ball between the tackles to start off the game. They couldn't run outside and because of that penetration there. And then you've got the linebacker number 59, I think his name's Campbell. He just did a really good job, especially early in the game when they were flowing like sweeps. There was a couple of times they ran sweeps to the right side, and there was one time he's flying through the alley, and it's actually Debo Samuel running the ball to the right side, and he takes the cut lane away. Like, you know how Debo cut back against Dallas on the
Yeah.
touchdown?
Yep.
You could see he's running, and it's Green Bay is overflowing everything with those motion. That's what they do, right? When the 49ers motion guys one way or another, you watch the defense, and the defenses all overplay it. Dallas was overplaying it on Sunday. The Rams overplayed it. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They overplay that side because typically when they motion, that's where the ball's going. So everybody's flowing pre-snap. And we saw the Packers were doing that, and that backside linebacker, if he keeps doing what he was doing early on in that game, which was staying home and filling that backside cutback lane, it makes it really hard for the 49ers to get those runs off. And they struggled in the first half, but they got going in the second half. And the one thing to watch with the 49ers, and we saw them struggle at times, like the Rams game, they'll struggle in the first half, but they come out and all of a sudden, if you're taking something away, they've got things to come back and hit you on. So although I'm saying I think it's going to look really similar, I think it's going to look different at the same time because you're going to have Elijah Mitchell instead of Trey Sermon as the running back. And I think that's the biggest change on the 49ers offense is you're going to get that. He's a more powerful runner than Trey Sermon. I like Trey Sermon. You can go back and you can talk to Grant about this, but I told him early on in training camp that I felt like Mitchell was the best back on the team. You know, outside of Mostert, he was the better back. He was always falling forward. He was always making the runs, and he just looked the best throughout camp. And so it's been fun to watch his progress as the season's gone on. It's going to be a fun matchup and for throughout this game, and I'm looking forward to watching Ambry Thomas. I just feel like he's going to have a fun game on Sunday, or at least I hope he does, because he's really come along, and he's not afraid to let guys get up on him because he's really good at man coverage. So he plays off, but at the same time, he's not bailing when he's in his coverage. So it's just going to be a fun game. I think the 49ers have a lot of things to look forward to in this one. And if they just hold on to the football, I think we know who's going to win.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with that 100%.
I talked for a long time. What do you think the score is going to be?
So looking at this game, I do believe, again, that the 49ers are going to turn it over, but I think they can overcome one turnover. It's just more than that. So saying that, it's going to be razor thin. Again, there are some things that are in the Packers' favor as well. The fact that the 49ers are playing their third straight road game, really it's their third straight playoff game if you just want to break it down. I mean, that last game was a playoff game in the regular season. So third straight playoff game against a tough team on the road, 6 days instead of 7, and you're traveling. The Niner fans travel really well, but I don't expect to see a lot of red there on Saturday. I really don't. I don't think they want to go to the cold. I don't think Packer fans really give up their tickets like that. So you're not going to have that energy from the crowd that you normally would. They're going to have to overcome a lot here. Green Bay is the best team in the NFC for a reason. All of that being said, I do believe the 49ers get it done here. I believe that they win this, and we'll talk next week and break down whoever they're playing, but I think this is the NFC Championship, and I am going 24-23, last-second Robbie Gould field goal to return the favor from Week 3. 49ers win.
Nice. I've been going back and forth on this one. I have a really hard time with these numbers in this one just because of the way things are going, but I feel like if the 49ers can hold the Packers to 20 points or less, I think that's where they win. I think they've got to hold them to 24. I agree with you on if they turn the ball over once, they can probably get away with it, because I think if they'd only turned the ball over once against Green Bay the first time around, they would have gotten away with it. So I'm going to say the 49ers need to, if they hold them to 24, they're going to go. I was on with Sunil earlier, and I'll just say the same number I said with him. I said 27-24 49ers.